listen, this election is going to come down to states, and I'm working on a piece. Still working on it, obviously, about, not only state election Senate races, but also ballot issues and the impact that ballot issues will have.
Yeah, no one's really talking about this.
No.
Because Donald Trump is just so interesting.
Yeah, and they're missing the point. So a couple races that people should know about that we think are very important here at the Fowler Show. The one that's very important is the New Hampshire. Maggie Hassan versus Kelly Ayotte. And Kelly Ayotte she's the incumbent. She's sort of not really like she won her election on this sort of Tea Party wave 6 years ago in 2010, and has sort of moderated a little bit because her state, New Hampshire, is also very live free
or die.
Live free or die is their or born free, live free. I don't know what that's.
Live free or die.
Their state motto, but she is down. I mean, Hassan is, according to a new CBS News YouGov poll, Hassan is at 42 to Ayotte's 41. Now, Ayotte has to walk this interesting fine line that I think is important that folks at home know. So Ayotte has to, one, convince, she has to stay in the middle so she can get, regular Republicans in New Hampshire and also the independents. But she also has to find a way to court the Donald Trump voter. But the more she tries to court the Donald Trump voter, the farther she has to move to the right. And the more she moves to the right, opens up this big chasm, or a couple of lanes for Maggie Hassan, who is the sitting governor in the state of New Hampshire, to really get this Senate seat.
So that's a perfect example. Right now, there are a ton of races around the country. I mean, listen, we have a pretty broken system in the House. We have
broken.
State legislatures have been, for the last, what would you say, 2 decades, historically controlled by Republicans. And they've been passing these redistricting laws where slowly but surely
they
redraw the map. And what that means is there are some districts that it is just impossible. There are going to be some districts that will never be Democratic districts.
No. There's some districts that will never be Republican districts.
Exactly. So it makes it interesting because we're often only talking about a handful of races that could change the basically, the direction of the entire country.
Exactly. I mean, we have about 10 Senate seats, and we have a couple of House races. Let's talk about the Senate ones, and we'll go into the House in a minute. So you also have the Florida race.
That's going to be a big one.
But I think it's almost a guaranteed for Marco Rubio, who will be returning to the United States Senate.
Which is interesting because he was so sure that he didn't want anything to do with the Senate. But
he literally said the Senate did nothing, but now he's going back to the Senate.
The nice thing that he says, this is a classic Republican move, right? Like, they do this thing where they say one thing, and then they're like, after a lot of prayer and reflection, I've decided that I'm going to do whatever I want.
Do that, but Republicans in particular. So the Monmouth poll has Marco Rubio at 48 to Patrick Murphy's 43. Patrick Murphy's in a really tough primary against Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson is, he's a friend of the show.
Yeah,
but
he's been getting beat up.
But his campaign has imploded.
Yeah, unfortunately. And, separating fact from fiction in that situation is very difficult.
Yes. He's having some issues with...
There are angles from all, you can make the argument that...
There's a lot of family issues happening in the race.
Yeah, there's allegations.
There's allegations from an ex-wife of assault and
you could say, obviously, he's a strong candidate against both the establishment in the Democratic side for the primary and also in the general. So you don't really know where the attack ad money is coming from and how that's working, but you've seen Alan Grayson lose a lot of really significant endorsements from heartily progressive organizations.
Because his politics are funny.
Yeah.
So I think that Patrick Murphy will end up winning the Democratic nomination. But I think ultimately the prediction here from us here at the Fowler Show is that Patrick Murphy will lose.
I would tend to agree with that.
And Marco Rubio will win. I think there'll be a lot of split-ticking voting. I think a lot of people, and that's going to be the interesting thing, to see the vote disparity between Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton, because I think Hillary Clinton will win the state of Florida in the Electoral College, but Marco Rubio will also win the Senate seat. So there'll be a lot of split ticket. I'm going to vote for Hillary, vote for Marco. And a lot of people are going to say a vote for Hillary doesn't necessarily mean a vote for Patrick Murphy. I think he's on the second-term senator from southern, almost northern Florida.
Well, that's what happens when you have
And another race
Trump, right?
close to home for Rich Webster is the Pennsylvania Senate race between Pat Toomey and Kate McGinty.
I'm officially, as a DC voter, like generally you can make the argument that your vote really doesn't count because we are heavily left. So Richard's a Virginia voter.
I am.
So his vote counts. I will go out to the polls because it's the right thing to do, and I will cast my ballot. Races, honestly, without getting too much into it, I think the most significant thing I can do as a DC voter is vote for district council members and the mayor of the district.
You get to vote for president.
Well, yeah, but does that matter?
You get DC's 3 electoral votes.
Right, but they're already spoken for.
I guess.
There is no way DC.
So can we talk about the Senate race, though, in Pennsylvania? That's more interesting than your voting record.
I will not be able to influence this race.
So that doesn't matter. What do you think about it? You're from the state. That's what people want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
He doesn't know.
Who's leading right now?
It's Portman, right? It's Portman. What?
I was reading the wrong line.
How is it possible that he produces my show and he doesn't know? That's one of the major Senate races. It's Pat Toomey versus Kate McGinty. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
She's the former state treasurer. He is the sitting senator who beat Sestak.
Jeff Sestak.
Jeff Sestak in the seat that was left open by, in the seat that was left open by Casey? No. Or was the seat left open? No, Santorum lost. I'm trying to figure out who left the seat open. There's a reason why that Senate seat was open, and it escapes me now. But McGinty is up for. She's a Democrat. Now, in this race, I think you won't see split ticket voting. I actually think that a vote for Hillary Clinton in the places where it matters, right? So Scranton and northeastern Pennsylvania, right? That's going to be where you're going to see Hillary try to run the numbers up. She's also going to try to run the numbers up in southeast Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia and the Philadelphia suburbs, where Hillary Clinton is going to really try to bulk up the votes.
Well, she did great in the primary, especially in Philadelphia. So I see it being that situation.
And then I think she's also going to, now Kate McGinty wins this. Is Kate McGinty going to have to follow the same type of trajectory that we saw the governor follow, the new governor, which is Corbett. No, that's the old governor. I forgot the new governor's name. It slips my mind. It's been a long day at the Fowler Show. But the new governor, who's a Democrat, his strategy of sort of trying to run up the numbers in urban Pittsburgh proper, knowing that you're not going to get the suburbs of Pittsburgh.
Right. So
you have to do 33 or try to get 40% or try to just even it up. But I think Kate McGinty, if she's smart, will put all of her eggs in the Philadelphia suburbs and northeastern Pennsylvania, the east part of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so she has a healthy lead right now. She's up 4 points.
A very healthy lead.
Which is pretty good, but there's a lot of time.
And another race that's also very important, a Senate race that we should be watching, is the Feingold Ron Johnson race in Wisconsin.
Right.
Now, Russ Feingold is the former senator who lost his Senate seat during the Tea Party wave. He's running for
back for blood.
He's running, and everybody knows him from the Feingold McCain campaign finance reform.
Right.
He's an ultra progressive, a great leader. I had a couple of friends who used to work for him when he was in the Senate.
Understands compromise, which is relevant, especially in the Senate.
Very relevant.